Howdy, y'all. Let's talk about My Hero Academia. Now, I literally, like 10 minutes ago, finished My Hero Academia. And honestly, I did not think it was going to take me this long to finish it because I posted my other video like 10 days ago about My Hero, uh, which was like 10 days ago, and I was only on like season 5. I could have finished this a lot quicker than I did, but I got caught up in doing stuff. Anyways, I finished it now. There's only, I think, 159 episodes, which I didn't watch the recap episodes, like the OAVs or OVAs or whatever you would have called them. But yeah, let's just talk. I ain't gonna make this video too long because I did make a previous video about My Hero a little bit, but I didn't really go into detail, and I'm gonna start getting better on that with this series about when I complete animes and I talk about them. Also, if you have not watched it, please go watch it, or because there's gonna be, I'm honestly gonna say spoilers in these videos because um, I just I realize I don't really talk too much about details when I when I make these videos sometimes. Besides the Tokyo Ghoul one. But anyways, let's get straight into it. I think overall as a whole, the show is honestly super good. I know, once again, I mentioned this in my previous video. I know a lot of people hate on My Hero, specifically the fan base. Uh, I really hope nothing I say in this video triggers anything that you all say. But I can say this, I do need to update my list. Actually, I'm going to do that right now while I'm here. Okay, I just updated my list, and I know this might, I don't know how y'all are going to feel about this. So my new top 3, I'm just going to go, I'm probably going to make a separate video on this. Right now, my top 3 is Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, and then Tokyo Ghoul. But in my opinion, I really do feel like Demon Slayer and My Hero could go hand in hand. Like, they each could be my number one in all honesty. But let's start out talking a little bit about like the first half of My Hero. You know, you got Izuku Midoriya, which is quirkless. You know, and then, you know, he gets into UA somehow because of everything. Anyways, you know, he inherits all for one. He inherits One for All from All Might. Doesn't really know how. One thing I really love about it is you see how Midoriya builds on and grows as he's learning how to use his new quirk. And I'll get on later about the other quirks that he obtains because I think that's really freaking cool. Um, I just think that once again I will mention this. I love how they develop characters in this show. They do it really well. Yes, it's kind of long, but they develop the characters really well. I can say though there are some characters I wish I knew more about, such as I know we know a lot of the backstory of All Might, but I want to really see. I wish they would have included like each of like the mainish characters, how they obtain their powers, and like it shows like, you know, that would be like a nice little thing. I mean, we don't really need it, but I think it would be cool because like I wonder how Eraserhead knew or found out when he was younger that he could erase quirks, because I always wondered, how do some of these people whose quirks you don't really notice like that, how do they just randomly find out that they can do that? Like, that was just a weird thing that I just thought about while watching the show. Definitely my favorite character though is Shoto, or Eraserhead, but that's besides the point. Yeah, my favorite character is Shoto for sure. Todoroki. That whole family, like, there's so much. Like, you got the main plot, and then you got little side plots, such as the Shoto's family and how his dad Endeavor is a deadbeat or was, and he tries to fix himself. They find out Dobby is their long lost son, who he didn't even know about, or Shoto didn't even realize that he was still alive. No one knew he was alive, but I thought that was an insane plot twist whenever Dobby came out and said that he was Endeavor's oldest son who he thought had died, which I thought was crazy because there's a lot of people who supposedly die in this show who come back as villains. I thought it was really sad. I mean, it's not really sad because honestly, Dobby did deserve to die. I'm not 100% sure if he did because he was still kind of alive whenever after Shoto came in and saved him, his dad, and his brother and sister and mother. So I'm not 100% sure. It isn't verified, but it probably is. Well, literally, when I finished the show, it said continued in the final season. I'm like, I thought there was more episodes in this. I was, I was into it, and I'm like, what? Another thing I may add, especially when All Might loses his quirk and he's now officially quirkless again, and then in the final few episodes, he comes out in this full suit with all the quirks of all the Class 1A students' quirks, which I was really intrigued on how he was going to do that, because obviously One for All, like, you can't replicate how powerful that is. I mean, you could try. They tried to do it with the Nomus in the first season whenever they attacked the UAG or the whatever it was. But, obviously in the early parts of the season, they all knew All Might was, not going to be All Might for any much longer, and it was just, I wish he could have had his power a little bit longer. I wish there was some way. There probably is. I haven't read the manga, so obviously I don't know, because it's going to be continued in the final season, which is supposed to be out, I believe, sometime at the end of this year, next year, something like that. I'm not 100%. I'll have to Google that or look it up or something. But I'm looking so forward to that. Another thing is that, another thing that I really wondered about. So when Midoriya starts unlocking these other quirks like Black Whip and all these other ones, which is from the past wielders of One for All. I've always wondered why All Might didn't get that, but also not all, none of the other people had gotten that. Izuku Midoriya is the only one that ever had the abilities that the past wielders have had, which I think is super duper cool, because not only was he quirkless, one of the weakest people in the universe at the start of the show, at the end he's by far probably the strongest, because he has One for All. He has, Float, Black Whip, the smoke thing, the thing that powers up his legs and body and everything to exert a lot of power. I think that's really cool how he has all their past quirks plus, One for All, of course, which I always wondered, because All Might was the first person that was quirkless to obtain One for All, but he only had, the super strength aspect of things, instead of the other wielders who already had quirks prior to One for All. But I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it. I am super duper excited for it to come out. I really loved how in the last few episodes, whenever the Toga and Uraraka, or I forgot her name, Ochako. I don't know, but anyways, I really love how they continued that little storyline, and Toga finally came to her senses, realizes that she's about to die, and then Toga gives up her blood to Uraraka so that she survives. Hopefully she survives and doesn't die on us, because that would be really sad. I thought it was really funny how Toga and her both have a huge crush on Izuku Midoriya, which I think is super cool. Also, we can talk about Dark Deku. I've heard people talk about Dark Deku. I didn't realize what they were talking about until the beginning of season 6 about Dark Deku. That guy is a savage. Literally, I was like, where was all this power at before? You just randomly came across and you figured out you could use all this. They didn't even tell us or nothing. You just did it. That doesn't make no sense to me sometimes. Animes do that. I'm sure the manga probably explains it better. But he just all of a sudden had all the powers of all the wielders and just used them. No problem. What is up with that? I don't know. That's pretty much really all I wanted to cover. It's an amazing show. I highly recommend you guys go watch it. Please go watch it. It is such a good show, even though a lot of people already have, because so many people have been telling me, you're just now starting that. That's normally people's first animes to watch. And I'm like, I don't know. Demon Slayer was my first anime to watch. But yeah, I am slowly but surely watching more animes. Also, peep the Solo shirt. I told you I had some. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Recommend me some animes to watch down in the comments, preferably ones that are dub so I can watch it in dub, okay? Like a Siren's Gate, that is not dub, so I don't know. I might get around to watching that. But please, if y'all recommend me animes, please make sure that it is dubbed. That's just my personal preference. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next video. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.